We're on the west shore of Hood Canal today to do a dive at a site called Flagpole Point. What makes the Flagpole Point site special is the cloud sponges that grow here. Cloud sponges are rare and they can only be found in a few places in the Pacific Northwest. So we're going to try to find the ones here. The challenge that we're going to have today is the surface swim. Normally Flagpole Point is dived from a boat, but we're going to dive it from the shore, and so we're going to have to swim about 300 yards. That's normally not too bad unless there's a current, and there could be one today because high tide was about 8:30 this morning, and right now it's about 11 o'clock, and so the ebb tide is on, and it could be flowing pretty hard, so we'll have to make a strategy so that we'll be able to get out to the dive site without getting swept away.
The current was flowing from south to north, so we stayed close to the shore and swam south until we were about 20 to 30 yards up current from the dive site. Then, when we swam out into the channel, the current guided us directly to our destination.
Okay, we made it out to the mooring buoy. This marks the dive spot. The mooring buoys here are great because that way boats can hook up to them and they don't have to drop their anchor and mess up the bottom. But for us it's great because we'll be able to know where the dive site is. All we have to do is follow the mooring line down to the attachment point and we can go down slope and find the sponges.
We followed the mooring line down to its attachment point, and about 20 yards down slope, the sponges came into view. They were in large clumps with what looked like new growth around the edges. As we got close enough for our lights to illuminate them, we could see how colorful they were, ranging from white to yellow to orange. The sponges are home to a variety of life, and we could see rockfish sheltering in and around them as we approached. Then as we looked closer, we saw shrimp, crabs, and other life. Here's a decorator crab hiding amongst the sponges. I could see a vermilion rockfish nestled down inside of this bunch. Vermilions are elusive and timid fish, but they're also very curious, so if you hold still and wait, they'll come around to check you out, like this one did. But we didn't have the luxury of waiting around for rockfish. We were at 97 feet depth, and according to my dive computer, we could only stay at this depth for about 14 minutes while remaining within the recreational dive limits, meaning no mandatory decompression stops. So we continued exploring around the area. I saw a couple of nice white dorids and a beautiful snake-lock anemone. Then up ahead I saw Eric signaling that he had spotted something. An octopus. It was a giant Pacific octopus inside of its den. Although we couldn't see the whole animal, we could tell by the size of its suction cups that it was a big one. These octos grow to be 10 to 14 feet between arm tips, and this one looked to be fully grown. After checking out the octopus from every angle that we could see it, we continued on our way. Almost immediately I saw something looking at me from out of the rocks. It was a wolf eel. When I took a closer look, I could see that there were actually 2 eels in the den, probably a mated pair. Wolf eels mate for life and can often be found together like this. Our time was almost up for this dive, so we headed back to the mooring line to make our ascent. As we passed over the rock, we encountered a large school of perch, California sea cucumbers, orange sea cucumbers, and a beautiful giant plumose anemone.
Well, we had a couple of nice dives today here at Flagpole Point. We managed to find the cloud sponges. a nice big giant Pacific octo, and a mated pair of wolf eels, along with all the other various sea life. And then since the tide went out while we were out there, it exposed a lot of oysters on the shore, so I picked up a couple on the way back just to have as a snack before we go home. So the first dive was 97 feet, 30 minutes. Second dive was 50 feet for 30 minutes, and water temperature 46 degrees. It was a good day, and top it off with oysters on the half shell. Doesn't get any better than this.